Hello, everyone. Boy, is it hot out. Now, it is summertime, so it's supposed to be hot. But the media and the left and the climate activists who are going around slashing people's SUV tires and other kinds of incidents, they would all have you believe you're responsible and I'm responsible. And cows farting are responsible because we drive our cars, because we use air conditioners. How dare we? It's an existential threat. We're all going to die. Of course, they keep moving the finish line. We were going to die and be underwater in 7 years, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, whatever. They keep changing it. Let me give you some numbers, okay? And to do that, I have to look at them. In Boston on Sunday, it hit 99 degrees. The previous record was set in 1933. In Providence, Rhode Island, it hit 96. That was early in the afternoon. It might have gone higher. It broke the record at 96. That record was set back in 1933. In Albany, New York, at the International Airport, that's the capital of New York State, guess what? Another record. It hit 97. The previous record set, you got it, in 1933 and 1952 and 1955. New York City highest July temperature reading ever was 106 degrees in 1936. Now I ask you, if things are getting progressively worse and worse and worse and worse, how did we have such high temperatures back in 1933, 1936, 1952, 1955? And I want to concentrate for a second on the 1930s. The 1930s, there were 6 years known as 1930 to 1936, probably 7 years, known as the Dust Bowl. It was brutally hot all across the United States, and I'm concentrating on the United States. Brutally hot. As a matter of fact, a story in the Washington Post a couple of days ago, headline, "The U.S. is sweltering. The heat wave of 1936 was far deadlier." Okay? How is that possible? There were no cars being driven. People weren't running their air conditioners. Cows were farting. But for 6, 7 years, we sweltered in this country in the Dust Bowl. So what happened? How did that, how was it so hot back then? Right? I'm not finished. Back then, in 1930 to 36, the hottest summer on record, 1936 had the hottest days. La Crosse, Wisconsin, 14 straight days of 90 or more. 9 days of 100 or more. That's a little example for you. Now, I've talked to people like Joe Bastardi and Mr. Morano from the Climate Depot. They'll tell you the climate's always changing. And it's cyclical. In the 70s, there were stories written that we were headed to an ice age. Al Gore, back in, when did he release his cockamamie Inconvenient Truth? May of 2006, made all kinds of predictions. None of which have really come true. I'll say this, most of them, from what I read, have not come true. The sea levels, we're all going to drown, cities underwater, coastal lines, blah, blah, blah. Now AOC tells us we're all going to die in X amount of years. It never ends. It never ends. Now, storms. Let's look at storms for a second. We all remember storms such as, and I'll give you this, Katrina in 2005, Hurricane Harvey in 2017, Carmine in 1969, Superstorm Sandy 10 years ago, believe it or not, this year, 10 years ago. But some of the worst storms in U.S. history happened 1900, the Galveston Hurricane, 1935, Labor Day Hurricane, 1928, the Okeechobee Hurricane in Florida, 1926, the Miami Hurricane. How? How did we have such severe weather? Back before we used put all this carbon in the air. How did that happen? And why did it get cooler after that and calm down after that? Now, I'm no meteorologist and I'm no scientist, but I will tell you, in my opinion, and the opinion of meteorologists and scientists that I've spoken to over the years on the air, it's all cyclical. It's all cyclical. This is part of the leftist agenda. You know it. I know it. The green agenda. Now, don't forget, fairly recently, they caught on Project Veritas, they caught a guy named Charlie Chester. He was, maybe is, a CNN technical director, talking about, he said, our first effort was to get Trump out of office, without saying that's what it was. The next thing is going to be climate change. And when he was asked, how do you do that by the Project Veritas people? Well, you show, I'm paraphrasing, you show storms and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Of course, this is what the left does. This is what the left does. And the founder of the Weather Channel many years ago told Brian Stelter on CNN, I don't know how long ago, but Stelter looked like a little boy. Whether or not he was wearing pants, I don't know. Some of you get that, some of you don't. He said climate change, as presented today, it's a hoax. So I just wanted to point out to you, I haven't even gotten to Al Gore, who had the nerve, the gall, the chutzpah. First of all, he calls everybody who doesn't believe like he does a denier, as Greg Gutfeld said today on Fox, and I've said over the years, and I'm not saying he took it from me, but that's to equate, if you don't believe in climate change, man-made climate change, you're like a Holocaust denier. That's what they mean by saying denier. And he compared it to us doing nothing about it just yesterday on Meet the Press, to 400 cops standing outside the classrooms in Uvalde during the school shooting while kids were screaming and dying. That's what he compared our inaction on man-made climate change to. And he apologized after, or maybe he didn't apologize. He realized what he said, and he brought up the parents and his sympathies and blah, blah, blah. Cuckoo! Telling you. So don't be fooled. It's been hotter than this. It will be hotter than this. It'll be cool again. It's summertime. Deal with it. Don't let the left win. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, stay safe and stay cool.